Before we get into the meat and potatoes of this video, I want to quickly go over some things that aren't necessarily relevant to the main contents of this video, but more so for a wellness check. One thing I want to discuss before we get into everything is how my work is going. Obviously, I'm not going to sit here and tell you the details, the specifics, because, well, one, I signed several stuff for confidentiality, and two, I don't want y'all knowing my business to the point where you might know where I live, and that's kind of something I want to avoid for the time being for as long as possible. As you guys know, if you saw my last update video where I got the job, I conquered, college, and I finally got the job that, so many people envy and want. It is overwhelming, and it's not that I'm not good at my job by any means. I mean, my couple bosses above me will like to suggest otherwise, but I'm in a situation where there's a high turnover rate, what we do, but also like the support staff and things like that. And because I'm a part of said support staff, it can get a little bit tricky and overwhelming. So we are growing at a rate that not a lot of people predicted. I think that is a very fair assessment of what we're doing as saying that as neutral as possible. And because of this rapid growth, some people have decided to leave. This was several months ago, and now everybody in my department is brand new. And that can make it challenging when here I am in an entry-level role where I know most of the ongoings of my department. And now that they've hired all these new replacements, it can be a little bit overwhelming when they're asking someone who's just merely an entry-level role person or employee all these questions, and everybody above said entry-level role is brand new. So that can make it a bit challenging. On top of that, I'm really doing the work of two people. I'm not going to go into specifics by any means, but it is overwhelming, and I am a bit burnt out. I'm not going to lie, hence why there hasn't been a lot of consistency, and we'll get into why certain things have been consistent and certain things haven't been consistent. But it's definitely draining. I'm not going to deny that by any means. But the good news is I have worked most of the year not taking any time off, and now that we have kind of entered the second half of 2025, I am taking PTO, and you might start to see this with certain games that I'm going to be recording in the future, some other projects I got in the works. So that's definitely great. My team is just going to have to figure it out without me, and I am the only person that knows how to do my task. Or multiple, it's like one general term, but with like 1,000 small tasks, if that makes sense. The guy who trained me, he's like, you're doing the job of two people realistically. My physical health, I would say, I haven't been consistent in the gym as much as I'd like to be. That's kind of the downside when you're working really a 45 to 50 hour job, plus doing YouTube, and plus trying to commit to working out when you got to edit, you got to do all these things. So it has been a bit challenging in that way, but I mean, I do it to stay healthy when I can. I'm not neglecting it by any means, but physically, it's been a toll. It's been a toll. It's been a little bit of a toll. I mean, I watch my waistline by any means necessary. I mean, I eat like a bird, but it's something that has definitely been on my mind because, as you guys know, I used to work out a lot, but I also was unemployed last year for 4 months. So it's just an allocation of resources and time, which has been, that's the daily struggle of a lot of people. Like a lot of like young people wonder why adults are not as healthy as they used to be. There's not enough time. In the day and age that we live in, there really isn't a lot of time. And of course, my dog, Jackson, he's good. I would say because it's hot in the state that I live in, and he's a poodle, it can be hard trying to walk him every day and stuff. And it's not that I'm neglecting it. I just know that it's hot. Mosquitoes love me and they love him. So I'm trying to just, I keep his hair short and all that. But it's hard to walk him, but this is why I take him to daycare every week. He loves it. He gets like 8-9 hours of playtime. So now time for the main event of why I called this video to begin with. So the first thing I want to address is going to be, I'm going to be merging both SNGL Plus, which if you don't know, that's my side channel. I'll leave the link in this video's description, as well as I'll show some footage, on the screen right now. It's mainly what I do when I record is I record a whole LP like a traditional LP would be, like weekly parts or whatever, the raw footage. That's what I upload to SNGL Plus. Then I select, the good moments throughout an LP, and I convert it into a supercut. It's really what I do, and that supercut is what goes on SNGL, my main channel. Super Nintendo Gaming League. It's kind of something that I've thought about for a while. Before, when I created both these channels, I thought I'd have the time to run both and schedule content and do all that stuff. And to be fair, I would have had the time to do it, but I've had technical issues and I'm not going to get into that right now. So starting December 26, 2025, and I know that sounds like a far away, but it's important for a reason why I'm pushing it out so far. A, it's the last video. December 19th is the last video I upload on SNGL Plus, and now I'm going to be merging the two channels so that every week there is something going on, because SNGL Plus has seen more growth than SNGL, my main channel. And the reason for that is consistency. You'll probably hear that a lot with a lot of other influencers and a lot of other content creators. I'm no influencer by any means right now. Hopefully one day I would be. But as of now, that is not happening. So December 26th, there'll be a video every Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, unless the holiday lands on Friday. So then it would be on Saturday or whatever the next day would be after the holiday. Because I'm noticing when you release videos on holidays, they don't do as well, which makes sense because everybody's at home and being sane and being a normal person and hopefully enjoying family time. At least I hope so. SNGL Plus, these raw, sort of unedited, partly videos will be uploaded, like I said, on these Fridays and will be scheduled uploads in the future. So it'll probably be like 6 months to a year out. I'm doing that on purpose so that way I can at least keep up consistency. And then Supercuts will be once a month like it used to be, or every 4 to 5 weeks. Supercuts will upload alongside scheduled weekly content. So for example, there's 52 weeks in a year, right? 52 weeks in a year, that's 52 videos right there, give or take, depending on how the year cuts. Then there'll be a Supercut I'm going to try and target every month. So Supercut will be uploaded 1 week out of the month, uploaded alongside an already scheduled raw cut video from SNGL Plus, so to speak, like a traditional LP. So 1 week of the month, you're going to get 2 uploads on Friday. And this is important because some months I'll be able to make it the 4 weeks, because 4 weeks is just enough time to record, edit, and do all that stuff. So when I record a video or record a whole LP like I did Donkey Kong Bonanza, and we'll get into why that video didn't do great and all that stuff in a second. Once I record an entire LP, then I go in, I make the supercut. That's the first thing I do. I highlight the moments that I thought were the greatest or what's relevant to the story, like a plot or whatever. Upload that or edit it, export it, upload it, schedule it, upload it for a specific week coming up, usually the following Friday that I finished editing it. Then I go back in and I cut up the video raw and I do minimal editing. I cut every now and then. So like, for example, like an open world game, sort of like an open world game like Donkey Kong Bonanza, because a lot of exploring is not a lot of commentary. So I'll go in and chop it up a little bit, not to the extent of the supercut, but you get my point. Then I divide all that up into parts. Then I schedule upload those in the future. So that way you're getting the supercut right early. If it's a new game, great. It's just you get it right there. You know, say for example I uploaded, you know, another supercut next month, right? Then you wouldn't see the raw parts of those videos until probably 6 months to a year later. And I do that specifically so I can just keep the consistency going. So 5 videos a month at the max, 4 at the absolute minimum, because if a game takes a long time to record. Take for example like Xenoblade Chronicles, which I want to do in the future. That's going to take a long time to record. Once I get all that recorded, that'll probably be like 4 to 5, probably 5 to 6 weeks actually. But each game is different. It depends on how it goes and how my equipment holds up by then. There will be minimum 4 videos a month, and then 5 if we're lucky to make the 4-week deadline. I'm going to start doing a little smaller videos, I think, or smaller games in the future once I do the games that I want to soon. It's going to be different. We're going to balance it out. We're going to get the schedule set forth so that way there's no confusion or inconsistency whatsoever. All right, so why am I doing this? Like I said, it's already consistency. That's the biggest thing that I've seen this year that I've struggled with the most, and that's not because I've been negligent. I've also had technical issues. Yeah, SNGL has not been performing the way I want to. I've noticed that there was far more growth in our first year than it has been since April of this year, because I made my channel I uploaded my first video in April, but I started my channel last year in March. So SNGL Plus has been outpacing SNGL, the main channel, for a while now. I've gained like 2 subs in the last month, which doesn't really sound like a lot, but we got to take every victory we can get. There's been more consistency on that for a reason, and that's why I'm mainly doing this. Technical issues. So I'm not going to get into the technical issues. You know, there's so many things that I've been editing or trying to fix and troubleshoot and get out the kinks and the quirks. At first I had storage issues. I mean, I have 2 SSD drives, but the device in which I house those storage devices, because I have a Mac, it's been complicated. I was trying to find the right devices. Turns out my current devices worked. I just needed to fix the power. And then the issue I've been having recently the most is with my audio system. So Streamlabs used to allow Mac users to record 2 audio tracks. Then in the middle of my Donkey Kong Bonanza, probably right around the Elephant Bonanza rehearsal, the rerun at the end of the post story, that video has a lot of issues. It randomly updated it one day. Of course, I approved the update, because why wouldn't you do that? Unless if I would have known that the update would have caused issues, I wouldn't have never done it. But I did it, and because of that, I'm no longer allowed to record in 1 audio or 2 audio tracks, because I do that so that way I can edit my game audio and then edit my commentary audio separately. So neither when I edit in 1 audio track, you have to commentary audio and your gameplay audio are merged into one, and then when you edit the audio levels, it affects both. That's why I did 2 separate audio tracks, and because I can't do that, I've had to get another sort of system, as you probably have noticed by probably how my voice sounds. Maybe not if you've noticed it. If you've known, you can tell the difference. That'd be really shocked. I am using an analog audio system now, basically an XLR cable instead of a USB-C. I have a hybrid mic. That's how I was able to do it. It does sound different. It is better quality, and now I have sort of a mixer to help capture my audio. So that way, these 2 separate audio tracks, and depending on a software to update and all that stuff, Streamlabs still won't let me do 2 audio tracks, but at least now I can independently control both. I mean, I could before, but it just is a lot better when you have an external device processing the audio and sending it to the computer, as opposed to just the mic going straight to the computer, if that makes any sense. So with all those technical issues, and you'll see these in Donkey Kong Bonanza, the supercut, and all the future videos with that game, that was another reason why I hadn't been consistent and why I'm largely doing this merge. Not having the time to do it consistently enough for 2 channels. So again, when I made these 2 channels, I thought I would have the time to. And honestly, had those technical issues not presented itself, I probably would have, but I thought to myself, why divide the effort? Why split my effort across 2 platforms, 2 channels? And I'm like, it sounded like a good idea at the time. I didn't really know what I was going to do for my channel. So I was like, you know what? I'll just merge the 2. And we'll see how it goes. And consistency does matter. Consistency, quality, and probably shorter videos is what matters. That's why I do 2 to 3 hour videos each week, because I could upload every day, but that's so much burnout and so much overload. I've seen that affect me personally when I used to do this when I was a teenager, to other big channels who do it every day. And it's easier to do weekly parts, and that if you divide out the weekly videos by 7, it comes out to about 20 to 25 minutes, which is a fair episode length if I were doing it traditionally like the old school days. I schedule content months in advance, which is how I've been able to keep up on SNGL. So scheduled content, and when you upload a video, you can select private, public, scheduled, or I think Premiere. Scheduled has been saving my butt, and this is how a large part of my channel runs, or the lack thereof, I guess. Both channels have been using this feature for a while now, and that's what I'm going to be utilizing. Like I said throughout the video, I'm going to be scheduling upload all of my content probably from now on. Supercuts will definitely be more recent. So if you want like live, up-to-date recorded videos, definitely watch the Supercuts. So when is this starting? So December 26th is when this is going to go live. From the 26th till I don't know how long. There should be a video every week. If I run into an issue where I'm not going to be able to make it a week, I will let you guys know on my social media platforms or on my community page on my channel. I will let you know. I am planning to go back to school for my master's probably next year, and that would be the reason, or any other reason like family or whatever, I would be stopping consistent uploads. But this is why I'm trying to get ahead, so that when I do go back to school, it won't be much of an issue if I'm able to even go back next year. So what'll happen to SNGL Plus, my side channel? So I'm not really sure. I haven't really decided what I'm going to do with it. I think I won't delete it. It's still going to be up there. But it's going to be an inactive channel. If I get big enough, I may use it for like live streams and stuff and smaller stuff. A lot of people who are big have smaller channels, side channels that they keep for just live streaming and stuff that doesn't fit on the main channel. So that might be an avenue I pursue down the future, but I only have 25 subs, guys. I don't have 1,000. I don't have 100,000. I don't have 1,000,000. I don't have 10 million. I don't have anything like that. This is exclusively for fun, which I'm trying to create into a glorified business. And it's kind of frustrating when trying to explain it to people, because not a lot of people say it. They're like, oh, you're just a gamer. I'm like, I mean, yeah, I guess you could see it that way, but I do, studio quality stuff, at least now going forward. I schedule content, weekly content now, and, running a business and trying to get advertised and all that stuff in the future. That's really what I'm trying to go towards. I mean, yes, you do something for fun, but you hope that it turns into something financially monetary. Who wouldn't? Future projects. So one thing I wanted to, leave you guys sort of off on, that you guys will be anticipating more. I wanted to give y'all sort of whet y'all's appetite for a future project. So I'm going to go fix Donkey Kong Bonanza Supercut. So what happened with the Supercut from a technical perspective? Anytime you export a video, you got to make sure, at least if you have an external device housing the device that stores the footage, right? Anytime you have an external device that houses your videos that's slower than your machine, you always want to make sure you copy it. I had been having export issues for a while now. I had it with Donkey Kong Bonanza. I think I had it with Super Sluggers. I don't really remember. The computer version of the Supercut is the one that got wrecked. The mobile version is completely fine. So if you want to go and watch that video until I fix it and re-upload it, I'm going to fix it and re-upload it. Probably going to have to edit it from the ground up again, which will be fine. It'll be a future project for me. If you want to go watch it, I recommend watching it on your phone, because I guess the media players for the mobile version and the desktop version for YouTube just across the board are two different. And I actually looked it up. That's the reason why the mobile version looks great, but the computer version looks like crap. I'm going to fix that. I'm going to also be targeting The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Believe it or not, before Donkey Kong Bonanza started, I actually had already started recording a decent amount. I got through the first dungeon very early in that game, because one thing I realized is, while waiting for games to come out, there's no reason why I should wait and not record anything else sporadically. I recorded a little bit of Tears of the Kingdom before Donkey Kong Bonanza, recorded Donkey Kong Bonanza, and I'm currently still recording the post story for Donkey Kong Bonanza. And then when I'm done with Donkey Kong Bonanza, I'll return to Tears of the Kingdom. Wow, that was a mouthful. And then, of course, the reason I'm doing Tears of the Kingdom is because of Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. That's a game that I want to do, because Age of Calamity was actually a very good story. I'm not looking for the technical performance, because it's probably going to be 30 frames regardless if the trailers are any indication. So that's the reason why I'm doing Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment to go along with Tears of the Kingdom, just for the complete story for those who are interested. Pokemon Legends ZA, so I'm going to be trying to do that on launch day. I took PTO for it. It was one of those moments where I'm running out of days in the year to use my PTO, and that's the reason I did it, because normally I wouldn't have done that, because if anything, Donkey Kong Bonanza proved you don't need to have a video out the day a game comes out. Not necessarily. So I learned that sort of kind of the hard way, especially with the technical issues I had. I'm definitely going to be doing that game, because I actually started with Generation 6. I'm going to try and do Sonic X Shadow Generations as well. That's a game that I really want to play. Unfortunately, I don't think there is a physical version, the game on it. I think there's just a Switch 2 game key card, which, those are trash, so I'm not going to even consider that. Super Mario 3D World, I'm going to try and 100% that, but that's going to be probably a future project. Xenoblade Chronicles, I actually tried to record like the first 5 minutes of it, and I realized that my computer settings were screwed up, so I'll definitely swing back on that one. And then we have The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker on the GameCube Virtual Console, Nintendo Switch Online. So those are just some of the projects that I have in mind. I was thinking about doing Metroid Prime. I might do it later. I did Metroid Dread and it didn't do very well. Not that you do it for performance basis, you do it for fun, and I had a blast. It's just Metroid has a very niche fan base. And as you probably have already noticed, I have a new mic system now. I switched from audio or digital to analog, from USB-C to XLR cable. So that is another reason why, I was trying to work around the technical issues with the audio tracks. You should start to notice my increased audio quality in future projects towards like the post story of Donkey Kong Bonanza, if you're curious about the weekly uploads and are interested to watch it. All right, and then I'm going to be taking a small break from uploading. So hold on. Let me be clear. I'm not going to stop recording. The purpose of why I'm going to be taking a short little break from now until October. So during this time of recording, I'm going to record a bunch of games and get ahead to meet the weekly schedule. So that's the reason why I'm going to take a little bit of break from Supercuts for now, for a little bit. I don't know when the next one will come out. I'm hoping by October it will, but I wouldn't hold it to that. At least you guys know exactly when weekly content's coming out, so that way you guys won't be left in the dark forever. And of course, I want to end this video by saying thank you for those of you who have watched my content for the past year. I really do appreciate it. Currently, I'm trying to hit 100 subs. That's kind of like been, that's the first big goal, the tiny goal, I guess. It's always been difficult in the few times that I've tried, but I also realize that everybody seems to be doing YouTube these days, and it can be a lot harder to hit that goal. Of course, if I'm consistent enough, that'll change, and it'll get faster and faster as it usually does. I do this for fun. However, I am trying to do it the best that I can. I mean, what hobby wouldn't you do to the best of your abilities? Never feel obligated to subscribe or follow to me, because I know a lot of people, like, it's a desperate thing, and I'm not desperate. I mean, I'd really appreciate it if you guys would, but it's not something you never feel like you're obligated to, have to, or you're just guilt trip into doing it. I used to beg when I was a teenager for that. This is fun for me, and if it turns into something great where I never have to work at my job again, that'd be great, but I don't foresee that happening. I just don't. Just given the time and effort it needs to do that, who knows? Maybe you guys can prove me wrong, but never feel like you're obligated to support me or help me or watch my content. And of course, if you have any games you would like to play, or like me to play in the future, mention those games you want me to play in the comments. I have a going list. I'm not going to play every game, because the one I realized about the one game that one gentleman recommended like a few months ago, probably last year already. Some games are meant to be played like a long LP like I do. Some aren't. Maybe I'll go and do it, but if you would, if you recommend a game, I'll definitely read your comment by all means, of course. And of course, thank you guys so much for watching. I can't say that enough. It means the world to me that I get 5, 10 people, and then on Supercuts, when I'm actually consistent, 100, 200, 300 people watching. It's really great. And I don't think you realize, you don't really fathom that, how many people that is, until you actually are in a room of 300 people. I work probably with 500 people, and the fact that my most successful video is a reaction that has 460 something, that actually puts it up to scale. So thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys on the next one. Take care.